A lot has been made of the fact that the England cricket team players who have been selected for the squad for the upcoming T20 World Cup would have been leaving the IPL midway through, in fact right after the league stages were done, in order to go and play a bilateral series against Pakistan, which was in essence going to be the last series that England would be having as preparation for the T20 World Cup. However, there is now a little bit of a twist in the tale, and it appears as if the England players will be staying back and seeing out their IPL contracts after all. How exactly is that the case? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing in this particular video. Now, as we know, there are a lot of England stars who are currently taking part in the IPL. England captain Jos Buttler has been key for the Rajasthan Royals. His opening partner at the international level, Phil Salt, has been, key for the KKR side. Then there's, of course, Sam Curran, Moeen Ali, Liam Livingstone. There's a lot of players who are playing in the IPL, and many of whom could very well be needed beyond even the group stage ending. But they had a T20I series against Pakistan, which there was said that Jos Buttler himself had pushed that the players leave the IPL and then go ahead for that particular series. And the series gets underway May 21st, which would have meant missing the entirety of the playoffs. Now, there's nothing particularly wrong with this, but it does turn out that it is something that has not left the BCCI very happy. In fact, if you go by what it is, some quotes that are doing the rounds, you realize that, well, they're probably going to be trying to ensure that all of these players stay on and fulfill their contracts, because one source told the Times of India newspaper that the franchises are in no mood to release their England players as they had planned accordingly at the auction. Talks are on between the BCCI and the ECB to resolve this, to which I say, look, I understand the England players also wanting to play for their country. It makes perfect sense. But I do also see the perspective of the franchises here. Most of them would have planned to have the English players with them through the course of the season, as had been agreed. This series was agreed very much at the last minute, which means that now pulling out all of the players who were in the IPL was always going to be a problem. In fact, if you go by what is further expanded on this particular point, you'll realize that it could have ramifications beyond just leaving a few of the franchises unhappy. Because the same source says that I hope the ECB keeps their commitment they made before the auction. This type of ad hoc withdrawal of players will come with consequences. That part's interesting because, again, as you know, IPL contracts more often than not are not necessarily that ironclad. Players can and will pull out if they so want to, but it will often have to come with a very key reason and with the agreement, I may add, of the franchise. So if this is something that goes through, it could potentially lead to a situation where many England players in the future just don't get picked by IPL sides, which, if you remember, did happen for the longest of times. It's only in the recent 4, 5, 6 seasons that you've seen an influx of English stars play in the IPL. Before that, a lot of them would be scheduling series, let's say, during that particular point in time, and therefore, more often than not, most of the franchises would not go for the players who were England regulars. One hopes that this is a situation that gets resolved soon enough, because, again, it is rather unfortunate that it had to come to this at the last minute. They want to withdraw and the IPL teams are holding firm. Some sort of an amicable understanding could potentially be reached, but if you ask me, I'd potentially want these players to stay and play for their playoffs team, because a lot of them are very key. There's a Jos Buttler at RR, a Phil Salt at KKR. These players would be important and intrinsic to their sides, and if an agreement is to be reached that would allow maybe a few of these players to be there, don't forget, a lot of the players who are playing are going to be in sides that aren't necessarily playing the playoffs. Just look at, for instance, the Punjab Kings. They have Sam Curran, they've got Johnny Bairstow. That's a lot of English players just there. There's even a Chris Wokes, but he's not going to be anywhere near the setup, so that's fine. Then there's a lot of players who didn't even get selected, and Adil Rashid, a Chris Jordan, a Jofra Archer. So they are going to have more or less a full strength side, but with the exception of a few players missing. It'll be interesting to see how exactly this turns out. So keep an eye. As and when this story is updated, we'll bring you all the updates here on Sports Today. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon, leave us a comment, tell us your thoughts on the entire matter. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Don't forget to download the SportsTech app, and if you're already on the channel, go ahead, check out some other videos we've done today. For now, from my side though, it's goodbye.